And now we'll start the second interview of the day. And we have with us again Joel, our research director for the security research. Today morning we saw these two predictions about the new way of security solutions, the software-defined security solutions, and this bet from big techs, AWS, Google, and Microsoft in being a key player in this area. So it was a a nice start. And now we have this second interview where I would like Joel to focus on the Gdpr privacy issues and also the endpoint environment. So we have these two topics are in our agenda. And if you can share a little bit of what we have been doing in terms of research around these two topics, it will be great. Oh, thank you.
Great, yes, sure. Thank you very much, Gabriel. So yes, I would be happy to speak about privacy and compliance, including GDPR, in the next couple of slides. So of course, privacy and compliance has really come to a very high position also in the media, not just from the point of view of enterprise focus, simply because, data, private user data is extremely important. And there's not just the legal requirements for protecting the privacy of your customers' information. Beyond that legal side, the cyber criminals are very active in trying to, steal that information. For them, it represents real value and gold. So, the privacy and compliance officer in a company and the chief information security officer or chief trust officer have to really be on top of the developments in the industry. And there are a lot of things taking place right now in terms of development and advancements. And of course, in Europe, these areas can be quite complicated to navigate for businesses, and failing to comply can result in some quite hefty fines. And so, I think this slide really captures, based on our research, the areas of privacy management solution that are developing. So in the past, more traditional basic solutions were based on questionnaires, going through a list and saying yes, no to and making sure various components are in place to achieve compliance, has now moved on from that to a more cohesive set of application modules with lots of value-added features. So, those application modules strengthen that privacy management solution as a whole in a more holistic sense. And some of the value-added features or more specific components that are available in the market today include data visualizations, business intelligence, as well as next-generation reporting tools. So it's a far more dynamic way of doing that privacy management list of to-do items, for example, beyond that questionnaire. The next point here is scalability. So the regulatory landscape is evolving all the time with new regulations coming into play, and things like Brexit make that complicated. And, there's a lot of very interesting discussion right now throughout Europe about the concept of vaccination passports, for example, or digital health certificates that show that you have antigens or you've tested negative for COVID-19, for example. And these types of things mean that the solutions that are in place for privacy management need to be scalable, and they need to be able to adjust and flex in order to meet new requirements that are coming along. They can't be too static. Then the third point here is to extend capabilities through third-party integrations. And some of these capabilities might include data loss prevention, identity and access management for people that can actually access that data, as well as regulatory research. So again, once you have a privacy management solution in place, it's important for that solution to be easily integrated with other, perhaps third-party integrations, not necessarily with the same vendor, but different vendors, so you can, integrate it either with an existing solution you have or choose a best-of-breed partner for any of these aspects like data loss prevention and so on. Then the final point on here is another innovation in privacy and compliance, and that's data discovery. And so there are data discovery tools available that are very important and helpful to monitor what's happening with data and to incorporate that and merge it with the privacy management and other extended capabilities. Then the final slide on privacy and compliance before we move to the endpoint security, 3 points to consider here are, the first one is consider data protection when data is migrated to cloud repositories. So of course, all of the industry is heavily moving towards cloud, and cloud adoption is very front and center for pretty much all the companies' digital transformation programs. And of course, if you are going to have your customers and partners and so on data in cloud repositories, that data protection is something you have to get right. It's not something that you can ignore. Some organizations are also considering investment an important demonstration of their commitment to customer privacy. And so this is sort of the PR angle or the corporate communications angle, where if the company would like to demonstrate to the market their commitment to their customers' privacy, they can make those investments, but also make a song and dance about them, to inform the market, to make a press release, to organize some type of briefing, and to make a news splash, basically, so that customers can see that the organization is very serious and investing in customer privacy. Then the final point here, solutions are being designed to inject a wide variety of data classification tags and fingerprints. So those are in demand now to build upon the previous generations of data discovery and classifications, just to make those capabilities more powerful. So classification tags and fingerprints is the important point there. And so this next slide looks at endpoint security. Endpoint security platforms have evolved and become largely standardized on an architecture where lightweight agents are being deployed on the endpoint, and these connect with the cloud backend for machine learning or artificial intelligence-driven analytics. That's the latest generation of endpoint security platforms. The enhanced context provided by those backend analytics informs system responses. So, that cloud backend with ML and AI-driven analytics is a new innovation. It's very powerful, and it can help guide decisions on whether to quarantine files, block connections, or isolate endpoints. So it's leveraging technology for a more powerful security footprint. In endpoint security, innovation has re-energized the market. There was a period where there wasn't too much innovation taking place in endpoint, but that has changed now, and organizations are upgrading their endpoint protection to include quite a considerable list of new features and capabilities here: ransomware protection, signature-less detection for unknown threats, exploit protection, protection against fileless threats, and behavioral and static file analysis. So all of those innovative areas are now available as part of endpoint security platforms. Then the fourth bullet down here addresses EDR, so endpoint detection and response. The market has also seen that the development of that detection and response solution that really broadened the detection horizon with more sophisticated indicators of a compromise. So that's the IOCs. So today's endpoint detection and response tools are used to help detect advanced or evasive threats that can otherwise, evade those more traditional defenses and go undetected. So it takes, endpoint security to the next level, that EDR level. Increasingly, the market sees convergence as endpoint security platforms look to expand protection for their customers by offering a combination. So you'll see the endpoint security platform blended with an endpoint detection and response from a single agent on the endpoint. So it's consolidating and unification, going back to the previous FutureScape prediction, one of them. So it's a single agent on the endpoint, and that consolidation, that reference I made was to that prediction that talks about the skill shortage and the unification of security capabilities. And then the final point here really is looking beyond that, so a more futuristic view of where endpoint security is going. and that's the trend towards cross-layer or extended detection and response. So this is a type of solution that will leverage a common back-end analytical engine to process not just endpoint telemetry, but also telemetry from other sources coming in. So network information, for example, or messaging information coming in. And then you get that more enriched context and start to also, blend and tie in that very advanced XDR capability with, the SD-WAN or AI ops trends that I spoke about earlier, to give a more powerful level of security based on analytics and artificial intelligence and so on. So that really concludes the privacy and compliance and endpoint security part of the discussion.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Joel. It was great to hear a bit what's happening around the endpoint and how this GDPR and the privacy topic is evolving in Europe. So thank you very much. With this, we close the first day of the event, and we'll be here tomorrow for more discussion with Joel.